What's good, Commanders fans? Today's a holiday, man. January 10th is deemed as a holiday. Scott Turner has been fired. It's about time he gets that pink slip. His key does not work to get into Ashburn Park anymore. Thank goodness, man. It's about darn time. I thought it took a little too long. I thought it should have happened yesterday, but we got the news today, so I'm very excited, man. Watching Scott Turner call plays was hard to watch, man. It really was, and the fact that he got an extension before the year started was insane. It was insane. The 4th and 1 against the Browns, where he called a toss to Jonathan Williams. The 3rd and 3 up the middle to Curtis Samuel. I can't remember which game that was, but the Giants game, the one on Sunday Night Football at home, we were in the red zone. He called a reverse to Curtis Samuel instead of giving the ball to Brian Robinson. I think the Giants game was the game that really, really got on Ron Rivera's nerves and really got him upset. The Eagles game, the first Eagles game, where he dropped back Carson Wentz 1,000 times, and Carson Wentz got sacked over and over and over again. I remember Chris Cooley on his film review said that they're idiots. He called them idiots because they weren't running the football against the Eagles. Scott finally woke up and started to run the football. And then the Giants game, where it ended in a tie, where he was very conservative. I know a lot of people were not happy with that, where he did call a good play for Curtis Samuel to get that reverse into the Giants' territory, but he didn't capitalize on that opportunity, and we ended up tying against the Giants. So it was time for Scott to go, man. He was one of the worst offensive coordinators I've ever seen in my life. It was painful to watch him call plays. It really was. All those Curtis Samuel reverses, 3rd and 3, the 4th and 1 to John Williams, dropping Carson Wentz back a million times. It was painful. It really was. And even last year, I called for him to be fired. He needed to go. I feel like every 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, we barely got him. We were always calling plays backwards. I just thought Scott was really finesse, and I called him soft at times. I thought he was finessing. He didn't run the ball enough. Very finesse, and I thought we were a smash mouth kind of team, and he went against that, trying to pass the ball all the time. And I get that. Offense coordinators, they want to have a lot of big explosive plays, but that's just not our identity. And Sam Fortier, he came up with the article. Players came out anonymously and said that they weren't happy with the play calling, that, there's just too much talent there for them to be underwhelming offensively. I know Logan Thomas's wife said something about them having so much talent, so much weapons. Logan Thomas, I think, is one of the players that spoke out. Ron Rivera said that players, he had a meeting with players after the season and other coaches, and, they displayed that they weren't happy either. And it was time for Scott to go. And it's time for Scott to go, man. Other coordinators that we may get, I know people are talking about Frank Reich and Cliff Kingsbury, but I think Ken Zampese is a guy that probably will be the offensive coordinator. It's kind of just like Sam Mills when Sam Mills got fired. And that's the thing with the whole Commanders things. Ron brings his staff in, they're all Commanders. So I know it really hurt Ron a lot. It hurt his heart to fire Scott Turner. Norv Turner would be at the training camp practices. Scott Turner's dad would be at the practice all the time. I know Ron and Norv are good friends, so I know that hurt. Firing Sam Mills, I know that hurt. They're like family. They're best buds. So I know it's tough for Ron when he's firing all his favorite guys and his family ties. So, but it's something that certainly needed to be done. I'm very excited that Scott Turner got fired, and I'm happy that Sam Howell will have. It's tough for quarterbacks to have a bunch of offensive coordinators. We've seen it before with Jason Campbell having a bunch of offensive coordinators and different playbooks and different stuff like that. Many people have said that, even Logan Paulson, he came out and said that, he's just not helping his quarterback out, with his offense. And you could just see it. You can honestly see it. So it's just a lot of times Scott just wanted to get too cute. Like I said, with those reverses over and over again with those reverses. We would have a good drive, and then he would just do some type of silly reverse. And we just couldn't score in the red zone. I think some of that was on him too. And then the play calling with the Titans game, with Carson Wentz on the 1-yard line, the routes they were running, the receivers, it was just bad from Scott. It was bad from Scott. So I will say too, to be fair to Scott a little bit, did he have good quarterbacks? Did he have the best quarterbacks in the world? No, he didn't. Did he have the best offensive line in the world? I don't think he did either. That's on Ron too. Ron should be fired too, but he's not because of the owner. I think Ron's going to stay, and I think, he's going to meet with Dan Snyder on Monday. But I think this is kind of telling that Ron's going to be here next year because he's firing people. If he knew he wasn't going to be here, there's no point in him firing people. There's no point in that, because if you're going to get fired, I doubt that you're firing other people. You know that you're going to get the axe. Why are you firing people when you know you're going to get fired next week? There's no point in making moves or anything like that when you know your job is up in the air. I think Ron knows that he's safe, even if a new owner comes in. He might have talked to Dan about that, about, hey, you know, who are you selling the team to? Who's buying the team? Am I here or not? Talking to the new buyer, whoever it is. So yeah, I'm excited, man. I want to see who they hire as the offensive coordinator. Is he just going to promote somebody from within, Ken Zampese, or is he going to bring somebody up from the outside? And I don't think Ron's going to do that. He likes to be comfortable and stay with people that who he knows. But I do want to see who could develop Sam Howell, or if they trade for a quarterback, which I don't want them to do. Can they instill a system for them? And Carson, you know, he was saying that, you know, and the whole thing about Carson when they brought him in, Scott Turner was saying that the whole staff was saying, oh, we can open up the playbook. And then when they bring in Taylor Heineke off after Carson Wentz got hurt, then they say, oh, we can open up the playbook. So which one was it? Which one really was it? You know, you're going to say when Carson Wentz gets hurt, now you can open up the playbook, when you were saying that you could open up the playbook with Carson Wentz. And I didn't see any progress. So we've seen many quarterbacks come in, but the common denominator is Scott Turner. And I didn't see any progress from any of the offense at all under Scott Turner. Now, yeah, we were bottom 10 in every basically every offensive statistical category under Scott. Like I said, I know some of that's the quarterback, but you just have too much talent, too many weapons to not get the ball to Terry McLaurin. There were too many games where we had games where we just weren't feeding Terry McLaurin. You weren't getting the ball to your playmakers, to your best players. And that was ridiculous on Scott Turner's part. You have to manufacture touches for Terry McLaurin. You look at Justin Jefferson, they get him the ball every time. Jamar Chase, all the top receivers, they force feed their receivers. The coaches and their staff, they force feed the receivers. I don't think they did that enough with Terry McLaurin. And then Brian Robinson, that game against the Giants where he was cooking, he was eating and playing really well. It was like 7 yards per carry. They went away from that. So, yeah, sayonara Scott Turner. I'm happy that he's gone. So, we'll see what else happens, man. I will be on Rio Robinson's show tonight with Louis T and Street Scores, my guys. So, it should be a lot of fun. Make sure you guys check that out. Starts at 9 o'clock. Hail to Commanders. Peace.